everybody. Hi, this is Monica Dogra.
Hello, I'm Nirmika.
And you are watching us on Radio City Freedom.
Stay indie!
So I think at one point in time, indie was a really important word to delineate between the fact that the industry was dominated by Bollywood and that there wasn't really an infrastructure for a certain kind of sound that was burgeoning and it was rising and it was really powerful. But then, like all things evolve and grow, indie then started to be this like bracket term for anything non-Bollywood, even though the infrastructure had grown and we have certifiable stars in the non-Bollywood sector. And then I started to feel like the word indie became limiting,
Right.
and not necessarily a description that I was willing to take on anymore, even though, you know, it at one point did describe what I did.
Right.
I'm not sure. How do you feel about it?
Oh, well, you know, I look at it from so many different perspectives now. If I were to look at it sonically, indie means absolutely something, something absolutely different in the West. Indie means, something else here in India. Are we talking about structures, like you mentioned? Are we talking about sound? Are we talking about, label affiliation? Are we talking about pure roots? I don't know.
Yeah.
In fact, I had to question my own editorial sort of preferences.
Yeah.
What does indie mean actually in today's time? So I am kind of conflicted because there's so much cross-pollination these days.
Right.
You find indie stars who are making, their Bollywood debuts, and Bollywood, certified stars who want to kind of collaborate with indie artists. But I don't know what the term means. Maybe I just know that there's a big revolution that's happening right now in the music space. But what is indie? I'm not too sure.
One thing I hated was that indie automatically equated no budget or less money or no money. And I was like, bro, it's time to grow up beyond this.
I know.
There was a time when it was like, oh, we're taking a chance, so we're doing this indie thing. And I know once upon a time in India there was Hindi pop,
right?
And now there's hip hop,
right?
But are hip hop people indie? Because there are lots of indie hip hop. I don't know.
I know. What about an underground rapper who just got signed to a label? Does he kind of compromise his indie roots when he gets signed to a label?
Yeah.
There are big labels that are investing in underground subculture and kind of putting together small-time labels.
Mm-hmm.
Are those labeled indie labels?
Yeah.
What are indie labels?
Right.
So I don't understand. If they are able to control the distribution and the publishing machinery, they should not be calling themselves indie, because indie, at the end of the day, means DIY, do it yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it yourself, are you independent at all?
Which then brings me to the fact that often people who release, like me, for example, with a major record label, what general audiences don't know, but what I'm about to tell you now, is that larger labels actually don't fund the music at all. It's often a cosmetic deal. The artist is actually doing absolutely everything, and then going to the label and saying, hey, I've got this finished, all my sound recordings are paid for, my record design is paid for, even my publicity and like the photos, or everything's paid for, I've done everything. Will you put the label infrastructure and just seeding it out into the market? Which is why my last EP, Seeing Red, I just decided to do without a label at all, because I wasn't ready to hand over the rights to my master recordings in perpetuity for free anymore.
Right.
But at one point, I really did think it was important for me to align with a larger label, just for that status, to uplift myself out of this ideology that I was underground. I'm not underground anymore.
Right.
It shows in my record sales, it shows at my shows that I'm not underground anymore. So everything's in this, and what's really lovely to be a part of in India, I think, is the fact that we're at such a critical time. Literally, I think in 10 years or in 20 years, we're going to look back on this and be like, wow, we really changed the face of music in India at a time when a lot of people were scared to take risks, but a certain amount of people were ready to stick their necks out and change the youth, for example.
I was going to take your example. In fact, when you spoke about that time when people were beginning to see the space of music beyond Bollywood as a nice fertile ground you know, where people were creating things that they believed in. I mean, your name comes to mind. I remember when I was in Delhi, this was maybe 2008, 9. I think, you know, those few years before you guys started properly touring, which was when 2010, 11. Yeah. So I remember that period very clearly, you know, because I saw the Facebook page and I couldn't make sense of the word. What is it? Is it share, shire, shah? What is that apostrophe? You know, but it was such a breath of fresh air for all of us people who were, you know, kind of witnessing the rock scene, and suddenly there was this fusion, you know, sort of explosion coming from your end, and the visual respite that you provided. I think that was that was much needed, because we were not used to seeing acts that were that immersive, and I think you added that to the stage, and I think all of us are grateful for that. We have seen some fantastic performances by you in collaboration with these amazing artists, or you and Randolph together, and it gladdens my heart to see that there are people who believe in their art and, you know, who stick to their guns, and perseverance being one of the key things, you know, in becoming whoever you want to be.
Patience and perseverance.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think for me, I've often said that I feel like I exist in the in-betweens of so many things. You know, I'm not Bollywood, I'm not indie, I'm somewhere in between. I'm not indie, I'm not pop, I'm somewhere in between. I'm not hip hop, I'm not folk, I'm somewhere in between. It's just like whatever. Not American, not Indian. I'm Indian in America and American in India. So, and I think one of the reasons why I identify as Indian completely, and India is my home. And, you know, the music scene I feel is my family. I don't know anything greater that's changed my life more, supported me more, fed me more than the music scene in India. But at the same time, I've also felt the harsh dissonance that comes with fame from the music scene. So again, another in between with that. So seeing Red was kind of born from this headspace of what would happen if the music scene, if everybody in the music scene hated me, if I never shot another film again, if my family disowned me, if I lost all my money, if I lost my house, I lost all my friends, what would happen? And I realized I'd still make music and I would still do exactly what I'm doing anyway. And that gave me such a tremendous rise of power and self-awareness and authority over myself as an artist, without needing any validation. So why seeing Red is I was like, you know, when your eyes fill with blood and your heart like just explodes and a bomb, there's a bomb blast, but you're so clear and you know exactly who you are and exactly what you need to do and why you're doing it. So that was wild. And I wrote the record pretty quickly, but then it took me almost a year and a half just to package it and figure out a release plan for it and shoot the music video and raise the funds for everything, which it takes a lot of time. So the music video is dope. And the song.
It is dope. You have to check it out. If people haven't checked it out, you guys have really missed out on something. I mean, it has.
The song is half in Dogri. My uncle, my maternal uncle, is from Jammu. My mom's family is all from Jammu. And he passed away actually after I wrote the song, but he was a big hero for me. And also the fact that every time I would visit Jammu, it's a place of such unrest, but such beauty.
I know.
And the language is so stunning, and the language is dying. The youth don't really think there's a sort of feeling that it's not that cool to speak Dogri, so, you know. And I wanted to somehow tackle that, but also tackle themes of womanhood and of sexuality and relationships, which are always my themes. So I took this folk song that's essentially about a man confronting his wife after she comes back from the market with her jewelry missing. And I wrote my kind of anthemic response to that in the song.
I'm getting goosebumps, I'm sorry. All that you're saying is kind of resonating with me as well. I'll speak about that later, but
we have a similarity that way. And then the music video was meant to be, because I'm often political, but in this very serious way, I wanted to make it super fun and a bunch of girls just kind of being badasses on the streets, which it's so hard to be sometimes. And I met this guy in New York who runs 145 East, preserving a very ancient form of weaving in Calcutta. I met him in New York. He wanted to shoot something with me there. I looked at his work and I thought it was beautiful, so I was like, hey, I'll wear all of your clothes, you shoot the video for me, and we'll just, you know, you win some, I win some, and we do this awesome thing.
Of course.
And I got to reimagine this ancient weave, this ancient clothing in a modern way, and I also reimagined Dogri in a modern way, and I also had my comeback tune. So that's what See Me Now is about.
And I love it not just for the beautiful words, you know, that you have kind of added to the song, but it just sounds so pure yet so futuristic, because it is also born out of some sort of pain, Monica.
That's an interesting one. So female representation in music to me is really interesting because I know that a lot of festivals are now they're incentivizing, they're trying to create a larger number, they're trying to bring in larger numbers of women onto stages. But I've also, which I think is wonderful. It's like, in America there was a time when there was affirmative action for people of color. So, you know, when a certain group has been subjugated for quite some time, you create systems to lift them up and give them opportunities. So I think that's wonderful. But I also, and with the Me Too movement as well, combined in all of this, I mean, what I say about feminism is that a lot of it is not, it's not about what's happening right now. It's about rectifying years and years and years and years and years of wrongs. So it's not going to just happen like this, like, oh, you book a bunch of girls for your festival, like now we're done, you know, job done, I did it. It's not like that. We have had to tackle so many things for so long just to, I know I'm lesser paid than all of my male counterparts. I know that I, at one point, played most of the festivals in the country at a really nominal fee, and then when I finally needed to be lifted, I was left in the dust. And now that I'm famous, I'm now asked again to help those festivals lift up again. And, you know, again, if they acknowledged the history, it would be much easier for me to show up to the healing experience. But you can't ignore the history. I can't just show up clean slate now, guys. Okay, you're trying to do what is ethical, because it's just about ethics. Suddenly, and I can't just arrive at that. I need an acknowledgement of what has come to pass. And what I'm interested in is healing, but I'm also interested in acknowledging the wrongs. Without an acknowledgement, you know, then I feel like you're ignoring years and years of subjugation that can't be ignored. It just can't be ignored.
I know, and that's such an important point here, right? Because we're not asking, of course we're asking for a level playing field, but we're also asking for acknowledgement. We're also asking for a sort of validation, a sort of, I understand you, and I stand by you, and I'm listening to you. And these are the words that we are actually waiting to hear from the other side. And these are the words that are not very often spoken to us. Speaking of women and their representation in music, it's one of my favorite topics ever, and I have done a million panels about it. Well, the truth is that, and this is the line that I always use, you might find women on the covers of magazines, you might find women, you know, on these charts, so there's a sense of women everywhere. Why? Because they look glamorous and they photograph well and they're everywhere. But the truth is that, and there is a study that was conducted this year by this, the study is called the Annenberg Initiative. So if you go back and Google Annenberg Initiative, you will find that in the past 5 years, only a very small percentage, maybe just 22% of the credits have gone to women. So overall, women are a minority, a very, very small minority, not just globally, but of course in India, not just in India, but globally. And that is the truth. And it just seems that they're everywhere because Beyonce is really famous, and you know, Lady Gaga is so outrageous. But where are the women in studios? Where are women technicians? Where are women in backing bands? Where are women, at sound consoles? Where are women in artist management agencies? Where are women journalists? Where are women in positions like mine? I don't have peers. You know, sometimes I feel that I operate in this industry where I happen to be the only woman at business conclaves which are music oriented. It all too often happens that I'm the only person who's always kind of raising this flag of feminism, and I'm glad to do that. But the thing is that I need more support. I need people not just on the business side of things. I need people on stage. I need people in the studios, and that's the sort of deficit we need to talk about and make a hue and cry about. If there are music festivals that are giving bigger opportunities to women now, we also need studios, we can understand why women find these sort of professions prohibitive. The timings that we keep and the sort of close-knit intermingling that happens in the music scene can be very prohibitive for Indian families to accept, and for women to even think of that space as a woman-friendly space. But that's the culture we need to create. We need to tell women who are interested on the technical side of things, on the performance side of things, that it is a great space to be in, and it is women friendly, and you guys should be making the most of these opportunities. Why doesn't that happen? Even if performers, Monica, why is that every time a little girl shows interest in music, she's almost always in an Indian home encouraged to take up singing or encouraged to become a vocalist? How often do you find a girl child in any Indian home that encourages music, who wants to learn the drums, who wants to learn the bass? And it's in our minds, right? Like the rhythm side of things is always very male dominated, and women of course can be great at the piano, can play the acoustic guitar, of course fabulous at singing. What about the women that want to be drummers? Why are they always in a minority? And I see that clear shift every gig I go to. And I want to upset that, I want to change that, and I want to be that person who becomes the sort of big, loud, formidable mouthpiece for saying that we can and we will. And that'll happen with more conversations.
I mean, it's happening slowly, and I often say this as well, that there's just so much that you can do purely from a space of uplifting the change that is happening. I don't know if everyone takes that role so seriously. Like, for example, Madam Gandhi's killing it. She's a percussionist and a vocalist and a drummer. She drummed for MIA. There's Shiksha Bali, who's an amazing drummer in India. For me now, I'm putting together a new setup. I recently worked with Smokey, who's a DJ, female DJ. And I find myself in rooms because, the music scene is quite nuclear. We all know each other really well. So I'll be in rooms with people talking, and I'm not sure, I'm often, again, the loud, formidable mouthpiece as well. That's like, dude, everyone's hating on everyone else. Like, we're freaking dealing with crores, and we're Shah Rukh Khan and Priyanka Chopra. It's so dumb. We're all in this community together, and it's not even like we're currently in a phase where we have giant superstars getting huge record deals and we're selling out stadiums. As artists, we need to feel a responsibility to the larger activation of music, of that family that lies between us, regardless of our tastes and whether we like or dislike each other. Because actually, the music scene is highly political in India right now. We're paving the way for so many things to happen. We're able to, in safe spaces, speak politically about what we think, feel, what we stand against, what we stand for, without getting thrown in jail. I have some musician friends, like, for a tweet, suddenly they're, the Congress is doing this, or somebody's doing that, or somebody's threatening his family. It's when you're a musician, you can be an activator for such critical and important thought processes. So yeah, we need to lift each other up more.
I know, the cause is so much bigger than, our petty fights and our petty grudges.
Yeah.
And I feel that because it is so small, we're even smaller in our minds. And that sort of mindset has to break. What are we doing? Undercutting for that club gig, for that tour, for that festival.
Yeah.
Dude, the cause is so much bigger.
Yeah.
And if you pave the way, there'll probably be so many opportunities for so many people. So I kind of feel a sense of responsibility. Of course, I don't perform as much as I would like to, thanks to my job. But whatever I do, I feel a certain sense, and it came accidentally to me. I didn't want to be this sort of formidable, crazy mouthpiece, raising the flag of feminism at every panel. But because there was nobody, Monica, I had to become that person. I end up talking about Nariwad Zindabad, which means long live feminism, at every panel I'm at, whether it's a music business panel or it's a CSR panel or it's a social good panel. I'm like, I just have to do it because I am the only person who's doing it. Why aren't there people doing that? Because everyone's so busy, with their stuff, and they feel that anything which is social cause related is so boring. It isn't boring. I think it's the need of the hour.
Yeah,
that's why we need a lot of people from the community to talk about how we need to make the community safer for everybody. And talk about safety. Of course, we've had some really horrendous incidents in the past few months, and they've been reported. The sad part is the 2 or 3 people who have been in the under the spotlight haven't been brought to book because there haven't been FIRs and charge sheets kind of filed against them. But what it has done is that it has at least created or raised the awareness that nobody is sacrosanct here. That the sort of reverence that we had for people just by virtue of how great they sang doesn't translate into their personality, and Indian audiences are kind of forgiving that way. So they kind of look up to their music, whatever icons, as gods as well, so they can be very reverential. And I think the one thing that I felt as a woman was that just because a person's an awesome performer, amazing in the studio, has Bollywood hits, doesn't make him a non-criminal. You cannot ever use this illogical argument that he's a great singer, has a great voice, how could he do this to that girl? You've got to be kidding me. And these are legit arguments that come from people, and I can't even believe it. So I was supposed to have a chat with one of these people. It was before the incident came to light, and this was supposed to be a fireside chat with one of the accused in a Me Too case. And I was like, okay. And the case was reported, and I had to call the guys, the panel guys, and I had to tell them, either I withdraw or you get another person. And we had to replace that person. I just couldn't bring myself, and I had seen the video. This is about a person whose video was circulating on the internet. The thought of even having a dialogue with that person was just beneath.
So there's this insurgence of reality shows. There are quite a few. I think there's like mixtape. Was it called mixtape or mix something? It's like a DJ competition, bringing like old Bollywood.
Oh, I know, it was called Remix.
Remix.
Like the Amazon Remix.
There you go.
There've been so many. I think now there's been like a big there's been like a big rise in all of these digital shows and shows that are the non-Saregama type shows.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful to them.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't watch TV, so I'm not the greatest person to ask, but I am on one of the best ones and one of the first ones.
Yay!
Yeah, we've done 3 seasons now, and it's been epic. And when people ask me about, I've done other reality as well. Actually, all of the reality I've ever done has been legit reality. Unscripted, nothing fabricated. Mostly. So with the stage, nothing at all, totally unscripted. It's what the judges feel and think, how we feel in the room. It's a really beautiful panel because we all kind of represent various sides of the music industry, seemingly unrelated, but totally related. Ehsan has been in a rock band, and he's now a huge Bollywood producer. Vishal, of course, frontman of Pentagram, and probably written at least 75% of all the hits that come out into Bollywood. Devraj, who is the CEO of Universal Music in India, and then me. I won't talk about myself, but what's epic is what I've found since season 1 and until season 3. We've found talent from the furthest corners of India, and we're also really well watched. I mean, people religiously watch the show. So what I was really passionate about doing when the show came my way is I was like, man, I wish that there was a platform like that for me when I started. Of course, the concept is to sing covers, and I've always been really passionate about singing original music and performing original music. But what's wonderful is that as a result of the show, so many people have thriving careers now in the music industry, and fan bases that they established during the show via Instagram and Twitter, and all of us posting for them. As we're here, actually, Raghav Miakal's his album releases tonight. I'm so excited for him. Aishwarya Suresh is killing it now on Instagram.
Arunaja.
Arunaja.
Look at her. She has a glorious career.
Amazing.
I know.
Sharvi Yadav. I mean, so many of these guys are just phenomenal. And they were discovered on the show, and I'm very, very, very proud of that.
And speaking of opportunities, it goes without saying that these people have not just gotten not just have found like a foot in the door in the industry, they have flourished. And how Raghav, of course, is doing so well. He's had a fantastic tour, releasing his album today. Sharvi is already singing for the best in the business, and I can say that because I've written a song that she has sung. And I can give a shout out to I did worked on an anthem.
Amazing.
And I was so happy because she was a voice that was kind of unknown 2 years ago, and then the show came along, and suddenly that beautiful, nice, sonorous voice is everywhere. I love that girl.
Yeah, I love her.
So speaking of the other reality shows, if I were to tell you how some shows actually gave opportunities, and that's happening now a lot more because there's a sort of democracy of sorts, in the sense that I think new age composers and producers also look at people not in a sort of, oh, we're mentors and we'll give you this break. Everyone looks at you as an equal, and I think that was much needed, because as artists, whether you're budding or you're a veteran, you also want to feel really comfortable in your space. So no one should be in the studio. Of course, you need people to guide you, but you also want to feel really comfortable and kind of have this sort of egalitarian setup. So I'm going to give a shout out to another reality show that I have been closely watching, and I'm also kind of part of it in some way, whatever. So Arrived, which is Rahman sir's show. Which is produced by QK, and it has a fantastic, absolutely mind-blowing panel of mentors. So there's Clinton Cereo, who's one of my closest producers. So I write it out for Clinton, so I love working with him. There's Clinton, there's Vidya Watts, Rahman sir, of course, and then you also have Shan. So you have people from very different sort of industries bringing their expertise in mentoring these kids who were chosen from across the country. One of those singers who wasn't even in the top 5 is somebody who got a break with one of these, people who I cannot name right now, but I was writing the song. So I saw her on TV, being like one of those finalists. The next thing I see is her in the studio with one of the mentors. And I'm like, is this for real? You guys were just talking about how you're going to give her an opportunity, but here you are. It's not even a day since y'all shot that episode, and he's in your, and she's in your studio, and that was such a heartwarming feeling, because you saw these platforms actually translating into opportunities, and I think that's what people look for when they, that's what people actually think reality shows do. I mean, they do make dreams come true, and some of them actually do in the most beautiful ways, and we can say that some of these shows are really doing their job fantastically.
Yeah. I literally know no other way of being alive.
Couldn't have put it better than that. Oh my god. I know, right?
Yeah. I think that I've said this once actually in the Doers, that I think that because I'm a spiritual person and I'm a seeker, I often am like, why am I here? What the hell is the point? There's something really beautiful about the creative process that validates human existence. It's an offering. I'm here today, I'll be gone tomorrow, and I want to leave something behind. And the greatest thing that I could do, I believe, this is what I think, is that I can offer something that opens someone's hearts and bridges a gap between people. So that's why I write music, that's why I tell stories, that's why I do what I do, and I don't think I'd be alive if I wasn't doing that. How about you?
I know, the stuff that you said, the fact that it's like a fabric of your being, is this the kind of stuff that people don't understand? Because I know that if I told anybody that I'm a compulsively creative person, so if I'm not writing at least 4 lines of whatever I'm writing, I didn't even call it poetry or kavita until a long time. If I'm not writing that, or if I'm not, say, editing a story, or if I'm not, I don't know, stringing a tune in my mind, I'm probably cooking. I love knitting, and I love doing stuff around the house. So I've just realized that there is a streak that if I haven't made something from scratch in a day, I just feel incomplete. I just feel that my purpose on this planet is a little shaky, and people don't get this part. I think this is that part where they feel, why do you feel like this great need to? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, no one asked me that.
Yeah.
But why do I feel this additional need to create? Why do I feel this additional need to write poetry? Why do I feel this additional need to think beyond, thoughts that most people think? Because people are barely scratching the surface when they're speaking or articulating. Also, everyone's scared. Also, when you're writing your songs, you're also exposing the most naked part of yourself to the world. And how many people can do that? Even when people are expressing love to their most closest, ones, it's not as naked as, say, a song can be. And I've realized that when you do that to the world, you're not even articulating it to somebody who loves you, somebody who understands you. So first of all, give it to us that we are articulating some of our most naked thoughts to the world. वो करने में ही मतलब इतना बड़ा पहाड़ टूट जाता है. And if I were to say it, it's not a small deal, it's no mean feat. So when you do that, you've done that, you've exposed your most vulnerable side to the world. Not to mention yourself as a woman, your body, which of course is subject to judgment every second of your living life. You've done both of these things, and then you're castigated and you're critiqued for being this person who wants to be somebody. But I am that person.
I have my joke this chart read, and the guy, he has no idea who I am, but he was like, yeah, it's in your karma to be misunderstood. And then I went and I've seen so many things, man. I just watched Bohemian Rhapsody. I went and saw the Bowie exhibition at Brooklyn Museum. And one of my really dear friends, when in one of my darkest hours, he was like, listen, Monica, if you're polarizing people's opinions, you're doing something right. And I was like, cool, okay, so it's all good, Some people understand, some people won't understand. At the end of the day, this seed and the desire and the compulsion, sometimes it's a compulsion, it comes from within. And again, before I wrote Seeing Red, it was like, what if nobody buys this record? What if nobody cares? What are you gonna do? I'll do the same thing, It's the same thing. I played to thousands of people, I played to 50. I played to 50 last month, I played to thousands of people last month. It's like that. So it's okay, Why I do what I do is deeply personal. Hopefully people will receive it, that's my wish, of course, but it has nothing to do with my output.
How lovely.
I mean, my all-time favorites, I wouldn't call them singer-songwriters, but composers, writers. Karsh Kale is like one of my ultimates. I think Curtain Blue is such an insane talent. I really love what he's doing.
Abhishek is awesome.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I think Raja Kumari is such an incredible writer. She really knows how to write hits. I admire that. That's really difficult. Vishal Dadlani is easily one of my most favorite writers of all time. Like, period. That man knows what's up. I think I really love what Gaurav Grain is doing. Some of his collaborations with Kavya have been so beautiful. Let me see, who else? I think Charan Singh, I just met him, but he's incredible and he writes in Hindi, he's amazing. Let's see, what else do I find exciting? I find so many things exciting. So many things. I think Divine is insane. Yeah, on to you.
Okay. Okay, if I were to pick like the rock band that's kind of really, really inspiring me right now, with the music and with the lyrics, it has to be Parvaz. I think they're one of the most, they're not underrated now, but they've been doing it for so long, and I'm so happy that we got a chance to put them on the cover. And now they are playing to people across the world, and that is just makes me so happy, makes me really smile every time they're on stage.
Can I interject?
Yes.
Prateek Kuhad needs to be mentioned.
Of course, Prateek.
Oh my God, Prateek, you're amazing.
Prateek, you're amazing. Absolutely amazing. Then who else? so many people. Mati Bani, who we spoke about. So there's a big fusion music explosion happening in the country. So there's Mati Bani, there's Shadow and Light from Delhi. So that's Aninder Bose and Pavitra Chari. Awesome musicianship, just superlative arrangements. The performance is so immersive. Then who do we have? Then among the singer-songwriters, so many. Tejas Menon, an all-time favorite.
Amazing.
Arifa is doing such fabulous work as well. Mali. So they have like the Bombay singer-songwriter circuit, which is doing so well. Raghav, you've been just like absolutely one of the best. We love you.
You're amazing.
Khasi Bloods, who I really love from the Northeast. So many bands from Delhi. Peter Cat, I've always loved their whimsical, pop rock.
Sid Vashi is incredible.
There are so many. We'd be just listing down everybody that we
I have to say also, I mean, I know we're talking about singer-songwriters, but Ocean Tide is an incredible producer and an incredible DJ. I'm so sad I discovered you so late, but the fact that Baltimore Club and Detroit Club is being played in India because of you, props, homie. Also, Oxygen, you are sick. Oxygen, you're amazing. I can't wait for you to write another album.
Do that, Aditya.
Here's the thing.
Right now,
for me, it's actually really easy to acknowledge what's so incredible. The face of Indian music has changed as a result, and everybody's upping their game. Everybody is showing up, which then inspires me to be so much better. My producer on my EP, he goes by Dutty Deeds, but he's amazing. Shah Rule's also releasing some really incredible music. I mean, there's no reason why all of us should just be topping the charts,
I know. And as language lovers, I love the whole linguistic sort of revolution. So Prabdeep, whatever he's doing, to Punjabi. We have Swadesi doing such great work, and of course everyone, Dupadelics and Slum Gods, and I mean these guys, they come from such great deprivation, and to find art in deprivation, I think that's the biggest virtue. And a lot of us were privileged to not have come from places where there was no encouragement. Like my parents I've not heard a no in my life, Monica.
I've only heard no, for the record. I have only heard no, and I've been working since I was 15. I know that there's a perception that I come from privilege, but I don't. Just because I have an American accent. I came to India with 1,000 rupees. Okay? Let's just set that record straight.
Oh gosh. Now an Indian person with a very thick Indian accent will say, मेरे को आज तक किसी ने no नहीं बोला है. मेरी मम्मी ने भी मेरे को no नहीं बोला.
That's amazing.
So I was 18 and I wanted to play at a club in Noida, I remember, and I asked my mom, I can do this post-college. So I was studying journalism at LSR, and there was this opportunity. So it was a 3 nights a week sort of gig, and it required me to travel with my, with my co-performer 3 nights a week. And she's like, are you going to be safe? You really want to do it? Do it. So there was that.
So beautiful.
And I was, I can't be more grateful for those opportunities. The fact that she believed that I would be fine, the fact that she believed that this was a legit sort of commitment to music, and I think we need more people, and we need support systems. Of course, parental support is sort of a given ideally should be a given.
It's really important.
It's really important, but we also need a lovely support net, and I think that's a lovely way to sum this conversation.
Yeah.
And to say that we need people who support independent music, and we're not saying that because we feel entitled to the support. We also understand that we're doing all that we can within our means to bring to you the best version of our music. So even if it's not as slick as what you might find in the mainstream, be a little, forgiving, and do give independent music a chance, because we are doing all that we can to give the best that we can.
Yeah, I think independent music has more than a chance. We're not indie anymore. We're out there, and everybody's listening, and that's awesome. Thank you.
And women rule, and we need more women everywhere. Let's rule.
Radio City.